Hey guys, it's Joe Fink with Hand Drawn Pressing and Hand Drawn Records in Addison, Texas, and coming to you once again from our secret compound where we try to make cool things happen. And today we're going to be talking to another guest in the vinyl world. Her name is Yoli Mara, and she is with Welcome to 1979. Yoli, welcome.
Hi, Joe. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man, great to have you. Hey, you COVID craziness, everybody's going through it right now, but on top of COVID, you are in Nashville and you're dealing with tornado aftermath, man. You guys were very fortunate when that came through that it didn't take out the whole place, right?
Yeah. We were really, really lucky. It took a path that went maybe a mile tops north of the studio.
Oh no.
So we drive just a little ways from the studio, and you can see there's an airport, a municipal airport that was totaled, and the university behind there, and we were completely unscathed. But I mean, a mile. And it would have,
Wow, how lucky are you, man? There's a lot of people in Nashville that didn't come out as fortunate as you were. The combination of vinyl world has just been like attacked by this 2020 swarm, so to speak. I mean, we had the giant fire that disrupted everything with Apollo, right?
Yeah.
Then we have this tornado that wipes through Music City in Nashville, and then now nobody can go and record songs or play shows and sell records and get out of the house. I mean, it's just 2020 is nuts so far. I want a do-over. I don't know about you.
Yeah. We are ready to start over here.
Oh, man. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Welcome to 1979. I was reading up on your website, which is really cool, by the way, just the history of the building itself. Let's go way back. Let's start there. Okay. Was it true that the building was actually started out as an idea as a way to make bootleg records?
They actually did that there for years. Yep. So it was built as a record pressing plant, and they did nothing but bootlegs for the first couple of years, and they got caught. They got in huge trouble.
That's highly illegal. Yeah.
Yeah. And they went legit after that. And I mean, they did a lot of work with chess records. They did all kinds of major stuff after that. So they were wildly successful once they went legit. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I wonder what made him think that in the first place to go like, we're going to go rogue right from the start. We're just going to go fly under the radar and make it all work.
Yeah.
It's not how it happens.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
So that was years and years ago when you first got started. Say they went legit. You guys started up, and first when you came into it, what was the plan? Was it just to be a recording studio, or what was it when you guys first opened up 1979?
So yes, it was just as a really a tracking and mixing facility when we opened 12 years ago. So we did that for a while, and my husband Chris, who owns the business along with me, is also a recording engineer. And so we started to see, well, number one, we do primarily analog recording at the studio. We have digital capabilities, but we're known for being analog. So kind of watching the vinyl resurgence went hand in hand with kind of our our ethos of how we did things and everything. So 7 years ago is when we got into the vinyl mastering piece. We acquired the Neumann VMS 70 cutting lathe at that point and started cutting lacquers. And then saw that we were shipping all these lacquers to the same place and learned more and more about the vinyl process. And saw the bottleneck happening at the electroplating step. And so 4 years ago is when we got into that piece of it. So it's been a progression of just adding pieces as we saw opportunity and need in the industry.
So the fact that you guys are basically a one-stop shop between mastering, plating, cutting, and that's there's not a lot of you don't have a lot of competition that's doing the same thing all under one roof is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So you can control many different aspects of that whole chain that goes along. So when the vinyl mastering process comes on, what's the difference between vinyl mastering and just straight to tape?
I'm sorry, between what?
The difference between like a vinyl mastering and just a regular digital type of mastering?
Well, they're going to make different adjustments for the vinyl. And vinyl mastering, it's kind of a weird language piece. Like something can be mastered for vinyl, and that's like a premaster that's actually digital.
Right.
And then often the cutting of the lacquer is also returned referred to as vinyl mastering. And it's very different than digital because you have actual physical constraints. You can only fit so many minutes of music onto a side. So there's adjustments that have to be made, obviously, to make it all work and make it sound good on vinyl. So that's the difference there.
Can you walk us through the plating process just a little bit? Because some people don't even realize that when you say plating, they have no clue what you're talking about.
Exactly. We're something that most people don't even know exists in the process, right? Yeah. So, like I said, vinyl mastering, that lacquer is cut, and that's basically the master. And it's 14 inches for a 12-inch record. Anyway, so that lacquer is then taken to our electroplating facility, where it creates the stampers that are actually the molds that go into a press like you would have there at Hand Drawn. So we have these big nickel plating baths. So the lacquer is sprayed with a thin coat of silver, and then it goes into the nickel bath, and it's basically like a liquid nickel solution. And then there's pellets of nickel in there as well that dissolve. And then an electrical current is run through, which attracts the nickel to there's actually an aluminum disc inside of that lacquer. So the nickel is attracted to that aluminum substrate. And somehow magically, I don't know the science of it, but the metal adheres to there, and you run it for a certain period of time to get the right thickness. And then you take it out. So your lacquer is cut, right? And so a lacquer could be played, right? It has grooves.
Right.
So when you take that out, the other piece, which is your father, has actually ridges in it. And so that could go into your press and become a stamper, right? Because then those ridges press grooves into the PVC that you guys put in there. But if we sent you that one, then you wouldn't have any backup. You couldn't make more stampers. A stamper can only press about 1,000 copies. So actually that piece goes back in to the bath, and again, electricity, nickel. Another piece adheres, and that's called a mother, and the mother has grooves. And we actually put that mother on the shelf at our facility and send you stampers to make records with. And then we can actually make more stampers with that mother, and we can also QC that mother. So if you guys do a test pressing and say, hey, there's a pop at this spot, we can actually play it back and listen to it and see where that problem may have come from. So that's just an amazing process, and it's been around for quite some time, correct? I mean, yeah, it's the same process as, from 50s, really.
Yeah, since its record started. But we get people that come in here all the time, and they're like, well, how do you get the music in there, And then we have to explain what you just explained there. Yeah. But what gets me is whenever you guys can listen back to the mother, and you can still hear the same, audio little, whether it's a pop or whether there's a dead space or a cross groove, you guys can find all that stuff right there, the same as we find it when it's cut into wax, but you're reading it off of a metal record, basically.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, super cool, man. Hey, with the vinyl mastering and the plating all happening there underneath one roof, you can't really get all that done without the recording side of it, right? So the studio that you guys have there, tell us a little bit about the studio and some of the things that, maybe some of the people, give us some history, who's worked there or some of the cool records that have come out from that room.
Sure, yeah. So the studio is the original, the first piece. I consider it to be sort of the flagship business, and it's a huge facility. We have, the whole place is 14,000 square feet that we have, but the studio itself takes about 7,000 square feet up.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like, a wonderland for people to just hang out in. And we just have one room, so it's not like there's multiple sessions going on at the same time. So when an artist books a session, they take over that space and it's theirs, and they're not running into other people or sharing bathrooms or,
That's
hearing
really cool
things, So they really, it's super homey. It's very vibey. It's, there's couches everywhere and dim lighting, and we have a slide that we put in. So we really just try to make a really nice, comfortable experience for people. And we also aim to be affordable. So most of our clientele are really small, independently funded artists. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
To go in there and to be able to do it all for them, that's basically a one-stop shop. And then you guys know the people who you can, like us, well, we say, yeah, we can cut and plate and record and do all this stuff here. And we know these guys that actually can finish your process and move it right along. Tell us about the VRMA and your role in the VRMA.
Sure. So the VRMA is the Vinyl Record Manufacturing Association of North America. It's a mouthful.
Very good.
But yeah, it's a really new organization. Actually, a small group of us went out to a vinyl conference in LA just this past October. And the weekend prior to the conference, a handful of us just went to the beach and hung out, and we're just talking, and realized that we have a lot of the same issues and concerns and priorities, and that we probably needed to formalize that and make it into, a trade organization. And also there's a lot of competition coming out of Europe and overseas. And so we wanted to support each other as small businesses and keep manufacturing in North America. So we kind of came out of that conference with, some emails flying back and forth, and just decided to pull together a meeting really quickly. So we gathered at our studio because we have the space, and we're kind of in Nashville, so we're geographically central and easy for most people to get to. Anyway, so we just had kind of a, hey, come and, we brought in somebody who could facilitate and help us get to starting a mission statement and that kind of thing. So I'm really one of the founding members, and we're just working through now. There's various committees working on, the bylaws and the things we need to become an organization. And, I've been on the communications committee as well. So try to keep our membership updated with our progress and keep pushing forward, even though times are weird. And it's, with times being weird, it's a great time to pull something like this together, to be honest. So.
Oh, completely. You have this nervous energy that you're filled with, and it's hard enough to get everything else that you have to get done through the day, but without some way to burn off that nervous energy, that can just ball up and manifest itself in other ways that aren't always productive. So I can see how moving the focus and your attention to VRMA during these weird COVID times could be a sense of peace almost, So what is the goal of the VRMA other than to support, small vinyl record manufacturing associations? Is it just to band together as that whole brotherhood that the vinyl record industry is, or what?
Yeah, exactly. To band together, to educate consumers is what we plan to do eventually. To to help people understand that you can control the process.
Right.
There's a point to finding out who's going to cut your record and where it's plated at and where it's pressed at, and even though it might be easy to just send files off to Europe
Right.
somewhere and get stuff back, it may not always be the quality you want, and support. They're all small businesses, all these companies that are coming together, are just your friend and your neighbor, and so why not keep it here?
Yeah, I agree. It's not only part of supporting the process, but it's a part of supporting the people who make the process, and building that relationship, because I really have discovered by doing what I do, it's all about your communication and your relationship with the artists and the people that you're working with, whether it's people at the plating facility or the producers or the musicians themselves or the people at the jacket company or the label printers. It's if you have good standing relationships with all of these folks, things just move smoother throughout the whole process chain. So it is a good way to keep those relationships good and alive.
Yeah.
So we've got a 5-question kind of format that we do here for everybody, and they're kind of fun.
Okay.
And give you a little bit of a chance to elaborate and find out a little bit about yourself. But we ask everybody the same 5 questions every time we have them on. It always starts off with first question, Yoli: cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. You know what? We're almost 100%, I think, batting for dogs.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I'm totally the dog guy, but I don't know. Maybe it's because cats are, they don't really need you a whole lot. Dogs are needier, I guess. I'm really not sure. Yeah, I'm really not sure.
I'm small dogs exclusively, though, so maybe that's bordering on cat.
So you're a small dog only?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you have dogs?
Not anymore. We had a miniature poodle for 17 years.
I have 2 Jack Russells, and they're super small, but they're super. The best thing you can get at Jack Russell is another Jack Russell, because they got to take care of each other somehow.
Yeah.
Yoli, what was your first record?
My first record,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson Thriller, when I was in second grade, maybe.
That's awesome. That is really cool. Let's see. We've got Dogs or Cats, first record. This one's good. The guys in the tech department came up with this one here. Backstreet Boys or In Sync? What's your favorite?
Ugh. Is neither an option?
Neither is totally an option. Neither is totally an option. That's great. When I first came up with it, I was like Beatles or Stones. I mean, well, that's the one we should ask everybody. And these guys are all, no. Backstreet or In Sync. It's more of a line in the sand, I guess, if you have to pick one of those guys.
I don't know. Boy band, I would go New Kids in the Block. See,
oh, there you go. Yoli's
know.
bringing in the wild card with NKOTB. There we go, guys. Yoli, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Wisconsin, in a little tiny town in northern Wisconsin.
Really? So you know all about long, hard winters, I'm sure.
I sure do.
I tried living in Minnesota for about a year and a half, and it was like living on another planet for me because I came from the desert, and I just couldn't handle it. I was like, nope, can't do this, man. Totally can't do this. So, Yoli, what made you decide to do what it is that you do? How did you figure out that this is what I'm going to do? This is what I want to be. This is where I'm at.
Great question. It actually sort of is an accidental career for me, I would say. I actually have a master's degree in special education, and I taught for a long time.
Nice.
And then kind of when we launched the studio, it started to make sense to kind of just help with that on the side. And we had really tiny children. We actually had the grand opening of the studio when I was 8 months pregnant with our second child, which is super genius timing.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just kind of worked for me to quit my job and stay home with the kids and do what I could to help the studio on the side. And then as they got older, I got more and more involved. And then really kind of just found, the areas that I liked more than other areas. And the vinyl piece has really kind of become more of mine. And I just really like working with our customers and our partners. And, I'm a people pleaser. So I like to be that side of the business and make sure that, people's needs are being met and, people are happy with what we're doing. So
see, you're a relationship builder. I mean, that's the whole thing, man, is you like to have that relationship and that back and forth with your customers and your clients. And that's really cool stuff, man. So you were talking earlier before we went on about how you guys are coping with the COVID craziness. Everyone's locked in. You said you have two little ones at home?
Yes. Luckily, they're not too little. They're 11 and 13, so they can,
Are they both boys, girls, boys, girls?
13 is a boy, 11 is a girl.
See, I have two sons that are 2 years apart like that, and man, when they were 13 and 11, there were times when they were, thick as thieves, and then the next minute it's WWE at my house, somebody's going to be bleeding somewhere, so I can only imagine being locked in quarantine with children of that age. And luckily, I've moved on from that measure, man. Hey, I wish you nothing but good luck in these times of a little bit of craziness and chaos that's going on. I think you've got all of the questions asked. This is our first attempt at doing the phone call-in thing, so I hope it all works out well. I hope it went great. I'm trusting my crackpot team of production associates behind me to make this all work out right and to make us both look good. Before we go, I'm going to show you what we call the puck of the week. All right, Yoli? So this is our own little setup thing. We you know what a puck is, right?
Of course.
The puck is the first part of making your record, other than
or
your
a
stamp,
biscuit, right?
The biscuit.
Some people
biscuit.
Might call it a
the
biscuit.
puck is more what we go by here. But this is our puck of the week this week. It's a cool kind of a gunmetal gray looking thing there. Check that out, Jordan. See if you can hold that up to where people can see it. I think you got to maybe hold it in front of the iPad, buddy. No, I don't know. It works. We'll see. And you'll see the record brain. This is what it actually turns out to look like when it's all done.
Oh, that's cool.
It came out really, really nice. This is super silver marble swirl that goes through there. It's a great one. So Yoli from 1979, welcome to 1979 and the VRMA. Thank you very much for being our first guest and for coming on board and for being the guinea pig, so to speak. And
Sure. Glad to do it.
and we really look forward to talking to you again and to talking about more about the VRMA and learning more about what keeps vinyl in the industry going, man. Be safe.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Joe.
Bye now.